First thing we're going to do is lower this down. All you have to do
Sure, Brian can do it. No, I forgot it.
Yeah, right, you forgot it.
and one of you has to count off, so you all start together, okay? Lucas is going to do it. Okay, you do it. Okay, you ready? And without further ado, the glisten glob.
1, 2, 3. There was a monstrous glisten glob who lived beneath the sea. His eyes were red, his teeth were sharp, and greener than a pea. I love to dine on lanternfish, and eels are better yet. But the more I eat, the monster said, the darker still it gets. It's gloomy on the ocean floor, it's blacker than the night. And if I eat the lanternfish, there won't be any light. He ate another lanternfish and swallowed down an eel. A pity, said the glisten glob, how sad it makes me feel. He found his tattered storybook and held it to his face. I can't make out the words, he said. I'll never find my place. I mustn't eat another eel. An eel came swimming by. He gulped it up and licked his tongue. It makes me want to cry. The sea is black as ink, he said. It's hard to see my claws. If lanternfish come swimming by, I'm buttoning my jaws. The lanternfish came swimming by. He ate them one by one. I finished off the lanternfish, and now he sighed, there's none. What will I do? He wrung his claws. A glisten glob needs light. I'm frightened of the dark, he said. Somehow this isn't right. A little fish came swimming by with lights above his head. The glisten glob fell on his knees. A light, the monster said. Stay here, he told the little fish. Come near so I can see. Why should I, said the little fish. Perhaps you might eat me. Perhaps I won't, the glisten glob said, crossly from his bed. I hate them dark, it strains my eyes and makes them very red. My promises, the glisten glob said, hopefully are good. I try my best to keep them. When I don't, I know I should. I'm going, said the little fish. He quickly swam away. Outrageous, said the glisten glob. What can a monster say? He lay upon the ocean floor. It's day or is it night? One can't, he said, tell what it is. I wish I had a light. I wish I had a lanternfish and one electric eel. I never think again, he said, of making them a meal. What's that? He said. Some little lights. They're coming near. Hooray! A lanternfish and eel, he said, are surely on their way. A lanternfish and eel swam down. They climbed upon his knee. And now the monster reads at night. It's hard, he said, when one can't bite or nibble up one's reading light. But oh, it's nice to see.
Okay. Wasn't that great? Each of you to tell me what it meant to you to have Mrs. Wreede as a teacher.
The best musician.
Come on, Lucas, that was yours.
Taking us down to PE classes.
Okay.
She was just a great teacher to me. He's nice.
I would agree with that. Well, thank you, kids. That was really terrific. And boy, talk about bringing back memories. You know, it certainly did. I had, was a reminder at the table I was sitting at there about Mrs. Wreede's store. Remember Mrs. Wreede's store? I remember when my son Brian came home from school and he had this big smile on his face. And I went, wow, what's going on? Oh, went to Mrs. Wreede's store today. What's Mrs. Wreede's store? Oh, Dad, it's really cool. You get coins and you can buy stuff with it. Good stuff. And that's when I realized Mrs. Wreede was a really smart person. Because it took a smart person to corral my son and the other one that's standing there and the rest of them into enjoying going to school. And how special of a gift is that for somebody to do that for our children and for us. Thank you, Mrs. Wreede. So please, come on up. Talk about Mrs. Wreede.
I worked at Claiborne from 2000 to 2007. And in vaudeville, they say, never follow a dog and pony show and never follow a kid act. Anyway, I'll make it easier for the rest of you then. One of my fondest memories at Claiborne is Troy. He was a great dog. And whenever we would have a fire drill, all the kids come out of their classes, and Troy's tail would go down. And if something was wrong. And then eventually we would ring the all clear, kids go back into their classrooms, Troy's tail would go back up. That dog knew a lot. When I first got to know Denise, we shared some common interests, like the Sons of the Pioneers and Slim Whitman. How many like Slim Whitman? Exactly. See, she's my soulmate. Well, good. You're joined. And also barbershop quartets and just music in general. And it's something I shared with her, and I'll never forget those good times.
Okay, good. My name's Kathy Taylor. My kids went from pre-K through 8th grade at Claiborne. Truly one of the most magical experiences of our family's life. We had some of our best and saddest times during those times. And I can't say enough about this Claiborne family being a permanent part of what's good in our lives. These are, it's an amazing place. And Mrs. Wreede, you're an amazing teacher. I thought you'd like to hear, well, first of all, my son Andy, who's now 30 and works at the House Foreign Relations Committee, he said to tell you that of all the teachers in his life, you're the best. You're the absolute standout best. And then Molly, who's 28 and a recruiter, wrote this to you. Mrs. Wreede, I came to you a shy and wildly insecure child with so much room to learn and grow. I had a 5'9" height trajectory to potentially meet, years of future heartbreaks and comforts to have, and a future of twists and turns into my now 28th year. How can I begin to explain to you the fact that you are one of my first memories of truly being seen? To envision you called upon images of movie tickets, grasped in my excited hands. I had earned that. I had shown to be responsible. I loved the feeling of doing good, doing well, being recognized. I was seen. I see days of tears in your comforting words. I see the magic castle. I see so much turmoil outside of your classroom and so much peace within your classroom. You showed me I mattered. You showed me that true magic and you bestowed upon me a sense of self that I previously did not have. I have taken that with me and have done my best to build upon it my whole life thus far. You set that foundation for me and I will never forget you for that. Thank you for seeing me and all of your students. You have had a profound, lifelong impact. I take it with me and tend to it every day. May the magic continue for you as you take your next steps. So much love, always, and so many thanks. Molly Taylor.
I think one of my favorite part was, well, this is one of my favorite parts, was going on the Oregon Trail, dressing up, and I was the daughter of my mom and my dad, and it was so fun, especially when we played the games around our destinations. The food we ate was amazing, though. I really liked our wagons on how we got to decorate them, and all in all, it was a great trip. Thank you, Mrs. Wreede. You were a great teacher. I enjoyed having you.
I just am so glad that the Gleasons had this opportunity for us to come, and thank you. You were so fun to get advice from. I loved looking in your room and seeing all the special things you had, the different kind of colored sand that had different textures and different puzzles and different games, just opportunities for kids to explore different things when their hands weren't always actively writing. And thank you for being a great teacher. Thank you for all your communiques on the email. We're sympathetic souls, I think, in some of those communiques, and I was happy to get them from you. Lots of laughs and best wishes, and go work your magic someplace else now.
I came and moved out here with my family. Our oldest was in 3rd grade, and they went down to 1 year old and had 4 kids. Some of you might not know that who know me now. But when I came in to teach my first year as a teacher with 4 kids, we didn't have a place to live, and we were staying with some friends of ours in their house. And my husband and I had to find a house, had to move our kids, and start my first year teaching. And honestly, Denise, I couldn't have done it without you. She took my hand. She copied things for me when I thought I was going to do it, and here they are. She told me what to teach. I mean, she laid it out for me better than anyone ever could. She was my best first co-teacher, and I am just forever grateful to you. And it was not easy, even moving in the middle of October, right before Halloween, and she was just always right there, and she's just still been there. We don't talk as much. We're kind of a little couple of grades higher than me, but she's just always there for me, and I just want to say thank you.
I didn't hire anybody in the year of 79-80, my very first year, but I did the following spring, and it was in 1980, and I had this resume in front of me from Denise Yoakum, who was out in Nebraska and had been trained in the Orton-Gillingham method. And I remember I knew something about it, but I never knew anybody who knew anything about it. But I was very impressed with Denise, and she came out. And what I noticed right away was just her spirit, her willingness to get involved right away in the community of the school. The school, Claiborne, was part of the Cardin method at that time, a very strictly governed kind of method. And Denise got right into that and learned that system and blended with all the teachers and so on. And it's just been a wonderful journey the whole way. Anything you ask Denise to do, she will do. She was one of only a very few people to ever come up to my office just to visit. Not to ask for anything, but to just drop by and say hello and keep me informed.
Remember the kids when they did the pencil pass. Was that your class? Yeah. They passed the pencils back so fast, it was amazing. I mean, you could get pencils out quickly. Everybody had a pencil. Very effective teaching. I also remember Denise as a friend, and her warm smile and her sense of peace and calm when things around weren't as calm, and I really appreciate that. And my husband and I had the opportunity to play Scrabble with Denise and her husband, and we really enjoyed that. I'm not a bridge player, so she kindly said she'd play Scrabble. And she was not very happy, though, because we didn't have sharp pencils at our house. darn. But as a gift, she gave us a pencil sharpener. She was that thoughtful, very thoughtful person. And Denise, I just want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with you and to know you. You're welcome.
Second grade class, we want to just let Mrs. Wreede know that you've been more than just a teacher to him. You've been like family.
My son was in Mrs. Wreede's class in 2007, and she encouraged him to enjoy math and by giving him extra homework. And he really enjoyed it till this day. And we want to thank Mrs. Wreede for that. My son plays the piano, and Mrs. Wreede has been very encouraging, and she supports him and has been to almost every one of his recitals.
Even on Mother's Day and Father's Day, making that trip all the way to Northridge just to him play for the Bach Festival. You have no idea how much we appreciate you driving out at 7 a.m. in the morning. It takes a special teacher with that kind of dedication, and we want to thank you for all these years. He's now in his first year at Johns Hopkins, and every recital that he goes to, he'll say, "Is Mrs. Wreede going to be there?" So that, it takes a lot for Dylan to think so highly of a teacher who's taken so much out of the classroom, and to spend all that time with him outside of class. Thank you.
How's everybody doing today? It's just lovely to see all of you guys again. My name's Alex Wreede. I graduated. I didn't graduate. I guess second grade. You sort of graduate, but my time with you was just so incredibly special. You took someone who was so overly ADHD and could not wait to get outside to go to recess, and you took someone and made him believe that he loved school. And I can't thank you enough for that. Thank you.
Having boys in a classroom in first and second grade is, as Mrs. Ryan can attest to, it's a difficult time because you're not sure whether they're ADHD or they're just being boys. And it's so much easier, I think, to manage girls. And a lot of the boys have a hard time, with that structure. And my kid was no exception. And I feel like that in our experience, we had a bunch of rowdy kids in our class in particular. We had a lot of kids in our class, and a couple folks are here from that. But I think your class was the first class where like, wow, here's a person that actually gets boys. And those of you that have boys or been around them at that age, Alex has just talked about, oh my God, it's a nightmare. It's like, okay, you got to sit down and you got to keep your hands on, and Mrs. Wreede had a way of managing that. And it wasn't punitive, and it wasn't, it was loving, and it was kind, and it had a way of finding what would motivate those boys and keep them on track and make them feel valued and like there wasn't something wrong with them for being what they naturally are, which is, kind of outgoing and rowdy. And there's no other way to say it. I mean, it's not a natural thing for a kid to sit in a classroom to begin with, but for some boys, it's particularly a challenge. And I'll sort of close with this and just say that at the end of each quarter, Mrs. Wreede would have a bag of stuff that she confiscated from my boy. This plastic bag, because he'd have all these trinkets and stuff he'd have to move, and she got that he was tactile and he needed to keep moving and fidgeting, and she would just gather and say, here's this quarter's worth of stuff. And it wasn't from her store. In any event, and through the years, like Nancy just said, when they announced Mrs. Wreede just introducing teachers, it would just be this thunderous applause. And they say that everybody's replaceable in any organization, and I sort of agree with that, but in your case, I don't think that applies. And I'm hoping, and I'm going to throw this out, I know we got some decision makers here, that maybe there can be some way of permanently honoring your legacy with some sort of, kind of recognition for special teachers that have that gift. And I throw that out here, to this group, because there are some decision makers here, for consideration. So thank you for everything.
First of all, thank you bunches and bunches for holding this wonderful event for me. Liz and Steve, I appreciate that. And everyone who is here, I am extremely grateful for your presence and for you making the time to come and be here and to say such lovely things. It's warmed my heart over many times. Each one of you that has come up, I know what it takes to get up in front of people and speak. And I've tried to teach children that it's okay and that you can get up and it's not going to be the end of the world. And I value the fact that you have made the effort to come up and say such lovely things. Molly turned into a great writer. She was amazing. Is her mom still here? She had to leave. Oh my gosh. And her brother Andy. Anyway, each one of you, I can't remember everything everyone said today already, but I have been blessed to go to Claiborne, to teach there, to have children, to have parents who I was able to work with, and that we could have a collaboration. And I hope that through these years that all of you parents understood and realized how much I care for your children. And that was the goal that I had and have always had, is that I'm there for your child. Let's see what we can do. And I'm very grateful to be honored today. And now I'm going off to a new life with my sweetheart, Roy. Wave to everybody, Roy, please. You don't have to get up. Anyway. Yes, dear.
I have to tell all these people, I don't know a single soul here. Except her. But I'm so pleased for the rest of my life I'm going to be spending it with her.
Oh. Thank you. I'm a lucky person. Anyway, he's a magician as well as I am. And he's also a top bridge player in one of the top 2% in the world. And he's graciously offered to help teach me. I'm getting there. Anyway, I've already done all my traveling. John Wreede took care of that for me. So I just want to hang out, have fun, do things I like, and I might even learn sign language. That's on my list. But I just want to see what each day brings, because that's the way to live life. Just enjoy each day. Thank you very much for coming. I love you all for it. Thank you.